Welcome back, everybody. Derek Sue, your East Oakland advocate. Well, did you get a good look at the pictures? That was from 2021. There was a major fire. It burned down an entire warehouse here on 77th Avenue. That was the next morning, after the 4th of July. It happened on the 4th of July. There was um, a big group of irresponsible people partying right across the street from that warehouse, and the fallout from the fireworks set that building on fire and destroyed the entire building. This is now 2023. That building has finally been demolished. It has been torn down after 2 years of sitting as blight to this neighborhood here in East Oakland. So anyway, I just want to encourage people to not uh, use fireworks uh, this 4th of July. I know in the past, growing up, that was a mainstay of my youth. Were playing with fireworks, but it was very different back then. We didn't have the mortar shells like we have today. I mean, the fireworks like you see in commercial displays. People are getting hold of these, and they're not safe. They're extremely dangerous. We've already seen a public storage warehouse or public storage completely burned to the ground just a few weeks ago. Then we've had homes blown up with explosives, people storing them, illegal storage of fireworks. We're seeing tons and tons of fireworks coming into the state here, and a state that cannot tolerate the use of the public using general fireworks. I know when I traveled back east, especially in Tennessee, there were superstore fireworks places as big as supersized grocery stores, the supermarkets, and it absolutely amazed me. And that was just off of Highway 40 going through Tennessee. And then we also have the same type of situation just across the border in Nevada. And that was why it was real important to have the agricultural stops right there at the California border, because they intercepted a lot of the illegal fireworks crossing into California back in the days. Now they, if I remember right, they removed those ag stations. So people are bringing in trailers and truckloads of fireworks from out of California. There's also a lot of shipments. We're seeing that at the ports here in California. Port of Oakland, they've been getting containers of fireworks. Los Angeles, another big port where fireworks illegally are transported with legal goods. So back in my day, when what can I say? I started playing with firecrackers when I was about 4.5 years old, and that started around the Chinese New Year celebrations, because we have back then, the big stringers, the red stringers of firecrackers. There's always going to be a few that don't pop, and so us kids, we were after those that didn't pop, and then that's how we got gunpowder. We made our own firecrackers and our own fireworks. And as I got older, I got into, I got past the silly sparklers that used to be readily available. You see them at the Safe and Sane booths there. But back in San Francisco, back in the day, I could buy them right off the street corner in San Francisco. That's how common they were in Chinatown. A lot of fireworks, in fact. There were things that shot up, and these were available back in the 60s and even into the 70s. I got some of these right off the corner in San Francisco, but now we have people who are really stupid, who don't know how to play with it properly, and they get themselves injured or killed, or they injure a lot of people. And I'll tell you what really stopped me, I was about 26 when this happened. And so that would have been 1986 is when I actually stopped playing with fireworks as a public display. I was safe with how I did mine because I did have the mortar shells. I admit that, but I used them responsibly. I set them up properly. I went to the waterfront down at the former Fifth Avenue Park and boat launch ramp, and I would go out and set my tubes for the mortars early in the day. We picnic and party all day long. We have a whole lot of friends and everything. So, and then at night they would be shot off over the water. So I was very responsible. OPD saw me there, and these were illegals, and they'd just come in and talk to me back in the day, because I was actually putting on a public display for a lot of people, because a lot of people had heard about me shooting off fireworks there. In fact, I did it for about 3 years in a row. And then when that third year, and then also having the police officers come over and talk to me, even though I was in a safe manner, I had fire extinguishers, I had all sorts of things, even safety kits right there. So I was very responsible with my display, not like what you see today. I was also really good at cleaning up my mess. So I took everything with me, everything that I shot off, and I didn't leave it. I took it home and put it in my garbage, not leave it there like what you saw in the opening pictures. That was an auto body shop right here on Hawley that did that year. I criticized them, and they actually came over and asked me to take down that video that I did of them and them shooting it off. And so I did that as a favor, just to keep the peace in the neighborhood. You know, he didn't make it an actual threat. He said, "I'm not threatening you, but I'm please asking you to take down that video," because it was a very damning video. It showed him and his crew shooting stuff off during the night. And in fact, I had even thought that some of their stuff might have been responsible for the warehouse fire in that same opening scene that you saw. But we've gotten along reasonably well. They're still doing a lot of activities that are very, very questionable, and police yet do nothing about it. But anyway, folks, 1986 was a bad year. We were shooting off mortar shells down there, and one of my friends that had we'd gone to school in high school for years, and we knew each other. And this is 8 years later, and what ended up happening while he was shooting off one of the mortar shells, the fuse dropped into the mortar casing, the ABS pipe. I told him, "No, don't do anything." He said, "Oh, it just happens." And just at the moment he put his finger into there, the thing lit and blew off a finger from his hand. And he was an up and coming semi-pro bowler at the time, semi-pro bowler. And that ruined his career, because it blew off his middle finger, and so he couldn't bowl anymore, because that was one of the fingers that he used for controlling the rotation of his throw on his ball. And so that ended his career and put him on an entirely different path careers wise, which who knows what would have happened if he had become a pro bowler at the time, because pro bowling still exists today. But that ended a career. It was a life-changing event on that night. And right after that, along with, and then we got him to the hospital. We found the finger. They reattached it, or at least they tried to, and it just didn't take. There's so much damage to that finger, and Kaiser Hospital ended up taking that finger off a week later after the reattachment. And so, like I said, please don't do fireworks, especially in the neighborhoods, because somebody's house and their families could be devastated by uh, these falling objects that are still hot, and or they're still alive. They haven't exploded yet, and they could explode and cause a fire on the roof of the car or in dry tinder that we have, especially in the Oakland Hills. There's so much weeds and brush that haven't been dealt with yet, and those fires can quickly and easily get out of control. Because I say that because when I was about 8 years old, I actually one of my skyrockets landed errantly in empty lot across the street, and it had a lot of brush. Fortunately, my parents had several fire extinguishers in the garage, so I used both of those and uh, ended up putting the fire out and not having to cause a big neighborhood fire from my personal misuse of fireworks at an early age. And I was at an age at 8 years old. Nobody was watching me do what I was doing. And so that's another thing, folks. Parents, be sure to keep an eye on your kids, especially if you have fireworks and you're going to set off fireworks. Another incident that happened that slowed a lot of my fireworks escapades down. One year, we went out to Half Moon Bay and out at the beach shooting off fireworks, and then you have jerks who just are there for mayhem, and they pointed fireworks. They were shooting fireworks at us on the beach. They had the elevation, and they're shooting skyrockets. They're shooting mortars down at the beach on us. So that's why I don't like going out in public displays and public where there's a lot of jerks like that. They get a little alcohol in them, then they think they're invincible. And what ended up happening, our enjoyment was cut way short because one of those assholes up there, one of their skyrockets ended up in one of my guests, my friend's box of fireworks, and the entire thing went off and injured two of their children and nearly blinded one of the children because of that. And so that's why I don't go and I don't participate in large public gatherings, especially around the 4th of July, because you have such dangerous and explosives and volatile situations that can get out of hand very quickly. And then on top of that, it's juiced by alcohol and stupidity. So, folks, stay safe. I don't play with fireworks anymore. I haven't for decades. It's dangerous. The stuff that is here on the streets, you need to know what you're doing so that you don't end up blowing yourself up and killing yourself, your family, and friends. Stay safe. Have a happy 4th of July. We'll be right back.